Shalom Aleichem and welcome to Online Smicha. Today we'll discuss a halacha that people should be aware of concerning the mitzvah of Netilas Lulav and also B'shas saying the shyness, how the Lulav and the minim in general should be held. Because we see different people doing different things, so I'd like to review some of the halachas as it's mentioned in the Alter Rebbe Shulchan Aruch. The Alter Rebbe Shulchan Aruch Siman Taf Reish Nun Aleph. The Alter Rebbe discusses or quotes as it's brought in the Gemara that when the pasuk tells us about the minim, the pasuk says that there should be pre-eitz hadar. The pre-eitz hadar is what we used the esreg, and then it says kapas tmarim, anaf eitz avos, arvei nachal. But if you look closely to the pasuk, you see that pre-eitz hadar is sort of on its own. The next three, there is a vav hamechaber. It says kapas tamarim, ve'anaf eitz aves, ve'arvei nachal. So the next three, the lulav, the hadassim, and the aravis are one after another and joined together. And. You don't find that by the esrig. So the Alter Rebbe in Taf Reish Nun Aleph, if Aleph says, Mikan ata lamed, from here we could learn, Sha esrig hu tzarech liyas b'fnei atzmai. The esrig is on his own, and it's v'lo yeh b'aguda achas im halulav. It's not part of the bundle, as everything else is being bundled together with the lulav. K'mo yahadas v'arava shenichtav behem vav hamoisiv. The way the Torah described the minim, the other three is 1 plus 2 plus 3. 3 together. The lulav, hadassim, and aravis are all together. The esrog is on its own. V'yesh cholkin al zeh. However, the Alter Rebbe brings an opinion that argues, and it says it doesn't necessarily loy miyet hakasuf el shlo yehei esrog neged im halulav uminov ba'aguda achas mamish. The only thing the Torah does not want you to do is join them together, tie them all together, including the esrog with the lulav and everything else. But not afal pi shenoitlam b'yodei achas. If he takes all 4 minim and holds it in one hand, ein bekach klum. That's not bad. That's not the end of the world. V'yoytze yidei chavasoi min haTorah. So in other words, there are 2 opinions. One opinion says that the esrig is on his own, completely, on one hand. The lulav and the other 2, the hadassim and the aravis, have to be on its own hand. The second opinion says the only issue the Torah has is they shouldn't be tied together, bound together. But to hold them in 2 separate hands, you not necessarily have to do. Comes the Alter Rebbe, and the Alter Rebbe says, L'in halacha, yesh lahachmir b'shel Torah. This is a mitzvah min Torah, and there is a debate. We're not sure. So you have to take the stricter route, and therefore have them in 2 separate hands, because there's one opinion that says that the esrog has to be in a separate hand of the lulav. And therefore, so much so, if you made a bracha on the lulav and held them both in one hand, because it's a suffix min haTorah, yachzer v'yitlein bebeis yodav. Should do it again. The mitzvah of Netilas Lulav all over again, just for holding it in one hand, but this time b'loi bracha. I can't ask you to make a bracha a second time, because we have the rule of suffix brachas lahako. The shema yotze bebracha rishon, and I don't know that maybe the first time you made the bracha you did it correct. So I can't ask you to make a second bracha. But now we see that the lulav and the hadassim and the aravis are in one hand, preferably, and the esrig in the separate hand. We find in Seif Yud Gimel, Sarich litel halulav uminav b'yodei hayamanis. Now that you're telling me that there are 2 separate hands, let me tell you which should be in what hand. The lulav and the hadassim and aravis that are bound together, they should be in the right hand. And the esrig should be in the left hand. Again, separate hands. Lefi shela halulav yesh by gimel mitzvahs, because the lulav is not each one here has 4 parts of the mitzvah, but the lulav has 3 of them together. you're holding a lulav, you have the lulav, hadassim, and the aravis. And the esrig, who mitzvah achas, is only one. So the right hand, symbolic for more chesed, more power, more chashivus. So you hold the one that has 3 parts to the mitzvah, and the left hand you hold the esrig. The im hepech, and if he held it the other way around, the esrig in the right hand and the lulav in the left hand, yotzer yudei chavasa, he still fulfilled the mitzvah. Again, you see the stress, but in 2 separate hands. And even then, says the Alter Rebbe, concerning this halacha, it would be best you do it again, but switch hands, put the lulav in the right and the esrig in the left, but you can't make a bracha. But then the Alter Rebbe says, I know that we had a discussion earlier about when you make the bracha, they should be in 2 separate hands. But in the tilas lulav, how about later on, by haishinus, where you're just holding it to go around the bima, by haishinus? Says the Alter Rebbe, afilu im kvar yotzi yedei chayvas netila, even if he fulfilled the mitzvah of netilas lulav. V'roitza lachzer v'litlei l'shem mitzvah, he's just holding the lulav and esrog for another extension of the mitzvah. Kegoyim b'shas amiros haishinus, tzarich litel halulav b'yamin v'esrog b'smoil. The lulav should be in the right, the esrog should be in the left. So there's 2 points you should notice. First of all, they should not be in one hand, because one hand, as the Alter Rebbe discussed in the first siman, the first sif, there is a separation between the esrig and the other 3 minim. It doesn't say vi. And when you're separating in 2 separate hands, it should be the lulav, which has more mitzvahs in the right hand, and the esrig in the left hand. Shekoyach, and please join us again next week.